That was not God's plan. That so as hell shouldn't have been your plan. That was Massa's plan. And the reason Massa's plan won, I need y'all to listen to me. I need y'all to pay attention. The reason that Massa's plan overrides your plan and God's plan is because Massa's plan is intentional. Massa's plan is deliberate. Massa's plan was done with the highest level of economic consciousness. He planned, he thought about it. He sat down and wrote it out. They said, okay, this is how we're going to take over hip hop music so that we can control the minds of millions of black males and get them to fill up the penitentiaries and to go out here and do all these other things that will fulfill every stereotype we have of them, keep them ignorant, blind, deaf, dumb, and stupid, and destroy and manage the black community. His plan was intentional and deliberate and specific. Was your plan equally intentional? Were you equally intentional about saying to myself, I know Massa got a plan for my son. I'm going to make sure my plan is different. Let me tell you about my mama real quick. When I was 5, I've told y'all, some of y'all this story before. When I was 5, there was a white lady that was my elementary school teacher or my preschool teacher. And she sat my mother down and she said, I need you to understand how your son operates. She said, he's very active. He gets up, he walks around, he makes noise, and he doesn't follow rules very well. But she said one day I saw him doing that and I wanted to embarrass him. So I went and I kept on teaching. I kept ignoring him as he was getting up, walking around, singing songs and talking to the other kids. And the way I was going to embarrass him was I was going to ask him to repeat back to me every single thing that I had put on the board. And she said, do you know that when I did that and he got up and walked around and did everything he normally does? And I said, okay, boys, I want you to tell me everything that I was just teaching everybody. She said, do you know that he told me every single thing that I had been teaching? He was listening while he was walking around appearing to be distracted. So what she said to my mother, she said that when your son gets to the public school system, they're going to try to medicate him. They're going to diagnose him. They're going to do all these things. They're going to tell you that something's wrong with him. And this lady, I'm not a person who walks around thinking that every white person tries to be evil. I don't think that way. This little white lady told my mother, do not let them put him on any medication. Do not let them diagnose him. Your son is fine. He just has a lot of energy. A lot of boys have energy, and that's it. And do you understand how critical that was when my mother years later intentionally, specifically, and really vehemently defended me when they tried to diagnose me or put me in special classes and do all these other things that would have derailed me? If my mother had not been specific and clear and intentional about pursuing her plan for me over Massa's plan for me, I would not be standing here talking to you right now. I would not be the man that I am right now. So what I'm really saying here is this. The world tends to move out of the way for people who know who the hell they are and people who know what the hell they want. So part of the reason that it's so important for you to be conscious on every level, and we talk about economic consciousness, and the economics certainly folds into this, but you got to be intentional about everything. You got to be intentional about everything. And if you don't know enough to have that clarity and intentionality, then this is where little things like meditation come into play. This is where you got to sit down and figure out who the hell you are, what the hell you want, what you want for your family, where this ship is going to go. You got to be clear. And when you are clear, the world will move out of your way. Part of the reason people don't mess with me is because they know that I'm clear. I ain't scared of nothing. I know exactly who I am. I know what I'm talking about, and you ain't gonna pump me out of nothing. And so I encourage you to understand the same thing. Because when you're not clear, what you do is you say, well, I don't really know what to do with my kids educationally. So you just hand them over to these other people and you trust these other people who don't have your child's best interest at heart. They don't have your best interest at heart. They're thinking about other stuff. Oh, well, I don't know what I want to do financially. So I think I'll just take this job so I can pay a couple of bills. And okay, you go ahead and do that. But just know that they're not thinking about your long-term economic security. You have to understand these things. So again, I end on this final simple note. You got God's plan, your plan and Master's plan. So because God's plan is it has more clarity and more relevance and it's more accurate than your plan because he knows more than you do, then consciousness means elevation. Elevation means you're getting closer to God. God lives inside of you. That's a fundamental belief a lot of people have. So the God is inside of you. You got to listen to that. You have to, that's where you sit in silence, you meditate, you disconnect, you think about things, process things. And then once you've done that and you gain that clarity, then you make sure that your plan got to override Master's plan. Because Master ain't got nothing good planned for you or your black son. Nothing. your black your black grandbabies. Master ain't got no good plan for none of them. But what is your plan? What is our plan? Hey, don't tell me all day about what white folks are doing. I don't care about that honestly, because I truly believe that when we really know who the hell we are and what we want, nothing can stop us. Nobody can get in our way. Nobody can. And that's what I want to share with y'all today. And I hope that this fit. I did not know I would end up sniveling and crying and stuff. I didn't plan on that. I was really mixed about whether or not I should talk about my uncle because I'm real sensitive about that. And honestly, that experience was so significant for me that it drives a lot of my um beliefs today. I'm really deeply offended by what they've done to our greatest men. They've locked them up. They've ruined them. They've either locked them up physically or locked a lot of them up psychologically. And this is something I'm determined to fight against because I think that we can do better than that. I think that God meant for something better to be for us, and I think that we can go get that. So I'm gonna finish up for today.